So, I've just spent the last 3 hours trying to think of a clever, funny, witty way of saying, or if my boss is reading, I've just spent the last 3 hours typing up my notes about the meeting we just had in time for the next meeting, about the meeting to be held after that, in which somebody might possibly consider the possibility of maybe one day imagining a possibly moderately effective solution to suggest to our client, which they will immediately ignore in favour of their utterly useless solution, which we rejected 2 meetings ago. Seriously, the sooner society descends into Mad Max, the happier I'm gonna be.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
And whilst I've been sitting there taking notes that no one will ever read, I've also been struggling to find a way to pad the following phrase. The Lego Movie 2 is very funny, very well done film with a perfectly adequate cast, but I just simply didn't take to it very much. 160 words, all done. Pub?
Pub. 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 Pub.
Maybe I should clarify my statement. Did you ever watch WALL-E and think that it should have stopped at the halfway point so we didn't have to deal with the slight downgrade in quality that was all the stuff on the spaceship? It's the same deal here. Set a few years after the events of the first film, we start off in a post-apocalyptic world before becoming an outer space musical with a ticking clock to the end of the universe, an absolutely definitely not evil queen sings about how she's not evil and no one ever lies in songs.
He lied to us through song. I hate when people do that.
There's a marriage that probably should be stopped, Batman is still the best character, and the whole thing's gone a bit meta. Now that sounds really cool, right? Except, it isn't. My wife slept through 30 minutes of it, and she hasn't done that since Fan 4 Stick. It's not that the film does anything wrong per se, it's just that, well, I hate the twist from the first film. There's a reason that the Lego Batman movie is the best one of the franchise and arguably the best Batman movie of all time. You heard me. Not only is it fast moving and funny, but it ignored the whole this is just taking place in some guy's basement nonsense that limits the whole franchise. It's a twist that limits what can be done, and also it makes some of the things that happen later on in the film, well, they seem to break the rules of this universe unless this universe shares space with the Toy Story lot. Without the twist and the real world setting, then I think this film could have done a lot more with the toy box of wonders that it has. I mean, aside from that, the film made me laugh a lot, it was very inventive, the plot had a few pretty cool twists, and I was never bored, but I wasn't terribly engaged either. It reminded me of a story from back in the 70s regarding Easy Rider. Watch it if you're old enough. Basically, the Suits had no idea why it became this big cultural touchstone that made them loads of money and awards and critical acclaim. So for the next movie, they just gave the director loads of money and let him get on with it because clearly this guy didn't need an adult watching over him, and in exchange they got The Last Movie, widely regarded as one of the worst films of all time, and a shoot so mad that the FBI had to go and keep an eye on the cast and crew. And this was a lot like that, except the Lego Movie 2 is still pretty good, and the FBI wasn't called in to watch anyone involved with this film, as far as I know. The fact of the matter is that when the Lego Movie was announced, people generally thought this was the worst thing to happen to pop culture since they cancelled Firefly. But it turned out to be so good that people were legitimately annoyed when it wasn't nominated for the Best Animated Oscar. And it made tons of money as well, so yeah, why wouldn't the Suits just leave the money in a bag and let the children play? Except they needed an adult in the background. There is such a thing as too many meta jokes, you know. At the end of the day, I get why people love this film. I want to love this film, but I just can't. I like the songs, I like the fast pace, 80% of the jokes. Hell, even the celebrity voice cast were tolerable. The plot was really good, but maybe if the team involved was even slightly restrained, it would have been a better experience for me. At the end of the day, me tying myself in knots aside, this is a very good film. Everyone else in my audience seems to be having fun, although some of the smaller kids were getting a bit fidgety towards the end. I mean, this is the best kids film out now or in the not too distant future. Hell, I'm looking forward to what they do with this universe, assuming they drop the humans completely, but for me, this film just didn't quite click, and I'll be damned if I know why. So it gets an if nothing else from me, guys. If nothing else is on, yeah, go and check this out. Otherwise, just don't bother. But what do you guys think? And what is a film that you know is really good but just doesn't quite click with you for some reason? Comment below, let me know. I'm Daniel, this has been a Dunking. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe.